Portraits of real-life giants. Let's agree right away that today's speech is not about fairy tale characters, but about real people who lived relatively recently. They simply had gigantism caused by a malfunction of the pituitary gland. This is such an area of the brain, which is responsible for the endocrine system. Danish polar explorer Lorenz Peter Elfert Freehand with his wife Dagmar. A very active man who wrote books, acted in movies, went on expeditions, etc. It is probably worth writing a separate article about him. I will only add that during the Second World War he actively participated in the Danish resistance to the Germans without having one leg. Once again, pay attention to the photo. After his arrest, the Germans sentenced him to execution, but he miraculously escaped. This is such an interesting uncle, and the wife in the photo, by the way, is the third. The first was Inuit, i.e. Eskimo, and died of Spanish disease. American Robert Pershing Wadlow is officially the tallest man in history. By the time he was 5 years old, he already required clothes as for a 17-year-old, as he had grown to 163 centimeters. By the end of his life, he lived only 22 years. His height was 272 centimeters. The unusually tall stature was caused by a pituitary tumor and acromegaly. German Jacob Nacken grew to 244 centimeters. On October 5, 1944, he was captured by U.S. troops. After the war, he starred on American television and participated in a freak show under the name The Tallest Man in the World. He died in 1987 at the age of 81. Canadian Edward Beaupré was 252 centimeters tall. Could lift a horse, but due to a pituitary abnormality that caused hypergrowth, he passed away at the age of 23. He knew several languages and toured. Icelander Johan Pettersson was known as the Viking Giant. Already at the age of 17, he was very strong and could lift a truck. He wore size 56 shoes, also performed in music halls, and did a little bit of movies. He lived to a ripe old age. Frenchman Henri Joseph Cote grew to 227 centimeters. His shoes were size 62. Under the stage name Joseph Dusort, toured England and the United States. He lived only until he was 29 years old. Russian giant Timofey Bakulin was 240 centimeters tall. On the photo with his father, he is dressed as a Cossack, but this is such a stage circus image. In the years of the NEP, Bakulin was engaged in that he performed in front of the public, showing his strength. However, he was called Timosha Silinsky from childhood. He was married to a girl of ordinary height, died of jaundice at the age of 42. Interestingly, one of his grandchildren grew to 198 centimeters.